On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, we're going back to my roots. A.B. Raymond and I, we put in a good day and a night in Miami's North Biscayne Bay. Wait till you see what we catch.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing. Big fish don't stand a chance.
Miami's North Biscayne Bay. This is where I grew up fishing. Sea trout, snook, tarpon, later on progressing out to the reefs in the offshore world. You take Captain A.B. Raymond, one of Miami-Dade's premier guides, he grew up in the same waters doing the same exact thing. So he and I talked about getting together to go fishing in the bay system, combining it up. Let's mix it up. Let's do a day trip and then also an evening trip. And what really inspired this trip to come together was I just finished putting together a brand new Mako 214 center console. This is a deep V boat. We tricked this thing out to the hilt. So rather than try to break this boat in, do any fine tuning, and then come back and do a show, I decided, baby, let's just jump on the boat and break this thing the right way. Let's go in Miami's Biscayne Bay and have at it.
George was just telling me about running down south in Biscayne Bay and that stretch from 79th Street to the Julia Tuttle Causeway, and it was just that beautiful skyline to the west of downtown Miami, having those nice grass flats with the sea trout on them, having Jack Crevalles running around the shorelines, having the snook opportunities, having the tarpon opportunities. We catch some sheep's head. It's such a versatile area to fish, and it's such a beautiful area at the same time, and it somehow maintains all of its success with that giant metropolis and that pressure from 4 million people in the greater Miami area. It still, manages to be a productive fishery with lots of versatility.
Met up with A.B., and the time was just right to get an early start and try for the snook underneath the Hullover Bridge.
We didn't have shrimp that day. We ordered live pilchards, and we had 1/4 ounce jig heads, and we had fluorocarbon leaders. They were 3 foot long, tied to our braided main line. And then we were hooking these pilchards up through the nose, and we were pitching them in these back eddies.
To get the most out of catching fish in Miami's North Biscayne Bay is you want to go light. Light tackle rules here, but light is actually a relative term because when you're fishing for snook tight to structure like we were, you want to try to go light to get the most enjoyment out of it, but yet you need enough backbone to try to horse these fish away from pilings and groins.
I like to fish the start of the tide when it comes to the incoming tide, especially when the water starts to flow in from the ocean and it gets that sand stirred up and it gets things moving like little mollusks and shells from the bottom. The snooks start to feed and the snappers start to feed. So if we could time the start of the incoming tide, it's really special at Hullover Inlet. There's a fish.
Here we go. And we got ourselves a mangrove snapper coming in.
Chunky snapper.
Yes, it is.
Oh, nice one, George. That's a good one.
It is too. Always count on them. You love them. And another one goes in.
Nice fish.
As it turned out, the first fish on a 214 happened to be a mangrove snapper.
Yeah, the important part is conceptualizing that if you cast your bait and jig combo into the current at all, you're already out of the strike zone. It gets real easy. You just need to make sure that you're not engaging your reel before that bait hits the bottom.
So here we go, wading through the mangrove snapper, and you could tell the hit and the strike and the fight. And this other time that I sent that jig and pilchard down, I had the hit and the hookup, and this time it was an entirely different animal at the other end of the line. I'm good.
Sorry, buddy. Trying to get away from the wall. Why, too close on you, buddy?
Yep, we got our snook. There's a net if you want him, or how do you want to get him, maybe?
Yeah, I'm gonna net him real quick, buddy.
There we go, coming over to you, buddy.
Nice fish, George.
Yes, sir.
That was a tricky bite. Good on you, man.
That was very tricky, wasn't it? Tricky bite, huh?
Man, he just kind of meandered. It was like you hung bottom slow, and
that's what I thought initially.
Man, you wound down tight like you knew it was a fish. I was impressed. And I'll tell you, that 20's a risk.
Look at it.
But it's worth the reward. It really is.
Well, saying? Yeah, oh, I don't know what the saying is. It was good snook.
Fair
All right,
enough.
let's let him go. There we go. Watch that cootie too. And you're out of here, Mr. Snook.
Snook is the top headliner in Miami's Biscayne Bay. They're sought after in canals leading into the bay, especially when forage is abundant and there's good water flow. They're within inlets where they converge to feed on forage swept by tides, around bridge groins, and along shadow lines from lighted docks and bridges. Best bet, use the most abundant forage for bait, but nothing compares to fooling them on a lure mimicking the most abundant forage. In artbypasta.com, from Catch to Canvas, rendering.
Catch the canvas, baby.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn, let the battle begin. Mako, you'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine, go boldly. George, we'll be right back.
With the tide picking up steam, we knew our window to score one more snook was closing. I'm fishing in Miami's North Biscayne Bay with A.B. Raymond.
Boom, we had our first snook, Oliver Inlet snook, and it was looking real good at that point. Released it, sent it back down, started throwing baits in again, and yes, we had some more mangrove snapper. There might have been a Jack Crevalle or two in the mix, and then bang, we got another snook out of it.
That's a real one. See if he stays on. Grab a net in case it's a sneaky.
Yep, right up front, it says snook. Yeah, there you go, Abby.
Out of your way here for a second. A nice angling with that light leader, George. Very smooth. Nice work, man. Skipped him into the net. I like that.
You hold your breath to the light leader. The person landing the fish is so critical. Get on that first shot.
Yeah, I mean, look where he was hooked right there in the lip, too.
Oh.
That's some smooth angling when he stays on there, man.
Come on out here.
Okay.
I'll change out, Abby. I'll get over here. All right, boy. He was barely hooked, Abby.
By the skin of his teeth.
For sure. All right, let's get this one overboard. All right, going in. He's gonna take off pretty fast. And then the tide starts to really get ripping, which makes it very difficult to fish the way that we were doing. So at that point in time, Abby said, all right, well, we got our snook, we got our mangrove snapper, let's continue in the bay. But as we went inshore a hollow inlet, rather turning left and going south, let's hang a right and go up in the northern extremities.
We raced inside there. We went to one of the little back canals of Biscayne Bay, and we were going for the snook and the tarpon and the Jack Crevalles in there. And that adds to the magic of Biscayne Bay, is a lot of those back canals where those native rivers let out, especially those canals can be really good action. Jack Crevalle, yeah.
Little Jack. He likes that prop, doesn't he?
He likes that prop walk.
Speed up a little bit.
Nicer Jack.
Oh, yeah, it is. There he comes. Incoming.
Beautiful. Cool, man.
Oh, that is.
Nice one.
Yes.
Love this size Jack on light
One of
tackle.
the best fighters in the bay.
Oh, man, even on the heavier braid.
So I figured, well, there's got to be some snook in here. So I'm going to start casting this plug real tight against the dock. Then there's just one big boat tied against the dock. I made a perfect cast right in the corner where this transom met the dock. And I started to work the twitching mullet away from the dock. What I see next, it was a tripletail. And the tripletail belted the Rapala twitching mullet. What the heck is this thing?
my God.
Come up like, look, a bunch of weeds. Coming around you, buddy. I'll get one more softy. Here you go. Here you go. Almost. I'm being gingerly with him.
I know it. I know it. Oh my gosh, George, I can't believe it, man. Look at that triple tail, dude. George, so I came up here just for these triple tails, and here he was. Can you believe it?
No.
Because it's not true. I've never caught a triple tail here in my life.
I see this brown thing. I said, is this a big puffer or is this a block of weeds? Because you never think triple tail way in here?
This is one of the coolest surprises I could ever hope for. It's something I would never imagine peeled off a dock in the north reaches of Biscayne Bay. Unbelievable. Just too cool. Big tripletail. There he goes, happy. And it just goes to show you, you never know what kind of success and what kind of species versatility you can have back there throwing plugs and throwing live baits in these little canals. We had a blast doing that.
We turned the tripletail free, and we're just adding to our tally right now.
With a great morning behind us and a big appetite setting in, A.B. Raymond and I headed to Shuckers. Shuckers is a restaurant on beautiful Biscayne Bay, offering a varied menu and refreshing drinks. You'll definitely enjoy your visit while taking in the sights of Biscayne Bay. We definitely did.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Simrad, for those who never settle. Rapala holds the world record for world records. Suffix, always use the best line. Starbright, clean and protect with Starbright. George, we'll be right back.
After a filling lunch, and with the tide just beginning to get right, A.B. Raymond and I set forth to catch a Biscayne Bay species we both cut our angling teeth on, sea trout.
So when we went sea trout fishing, I like to fish a 3-foot, 20-pound fluorocarbon terminal leader to our braid line, that's main line. And I like to have a 1/4 ounce jig head, same as we were fishing for the snook, except with a storm plastic threaded on it. When we got into them, we started getting into them pretty good. We started having a lot of fun. We had good numbers of trout, and I think everybody was pretty pleased with the decision to eat lunch and then go trout fishing. Oh, I got this one here.
All right, good.
You cast out again, George. Maybe you get another one.
You.
That's a decent one there, George. Man, this was a better follower, I guess.
Oh, and he let him go too.
We should have netted him, I guess, in hindsight. Nice one, George.
Good flat, A.B.
Yeah, man.
Trout are going off. Biscayne Bay trout. A fish I grew up catching as a kid in Biscayne Bay. All right, here we go. I go down and release it.
This is a fish I grew up watching George Poveromo catch in Biscayne Bay. Oh, George is on. Nice, man. Nice trout.
Much nicer one.
That's a better one, yeah. That's really good for next year, though, huh, George?
It is good to see all these small trout coming back. It's obviously a good year class.
Yeah, so nowadays, I've been watching the regrowth of the grass in Biscayne Bay the last few years. And when I look at that grass and it's clean and there's not a lot of, looks like slimy, mucusy algae growing on it, that's a grass that produces a trout. And then secondly, if you can match up those potholes in the grass where it goes from grass to a little mud hole and then grass again, those areas will produce the trout the best, as opposed to just grassy fields with no holes in them. Man, that's a nice way to end the day on a beautiful trout. We just had some phenomenal action, fast action, throwing artificials on light tackle. Really action-packed way to end the day with a beautiful downtown Miami skyline.
As we proved, once you dial in on the right color soft plastic and the right retrieve, which is also critical, and you're in the area that holds sea trout, the action is fast and often furious. Great fun fishing. We were dialed in on the colors, dialed in on the retrieves, and of course, we were dialed in an area that was holding sea trout.
George's Tackle Locker.
To power all electronics, save space and weight, and achieve maximum battery longevity, I outfitted the new Mako 214 with 3 Relion marine lithium iron phosphate batteries, more specifically model RB100-HP. Each battery weighs 26.4 pounds and measures 13 inches by 6.8 by 8.4 inches. My charging system is Relion's Pro Mariner, which is designed for lithium. Relion's marine lithium iron phosphate batteries utilize a high accuracy state of charge system. This keeps me informed throughout the day on the status of the batteries and not just voltage. These are Group 31 batteries with increased peak amps for starting power, while doubling as house batteries for keeping all functions fully charged. They're capable of providing a lifespan of up to 10 years longer than lead-acid batteries.
Mercury Performance Stats, Biscayne Bay, Florida. Seas, calm. Power, Mercury Pro XS V8 250 horsepower. Prop, Mercury Inertia Eco 19-inch pitch. Miles traveled, 46. Consistent cruise, 5,000 RPMs on average. Speed, 42 miles per hour on average. Fuel burned, 15 gallons.
George, we'll be right back.
George, Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum. Never a spectator. VMC, your expert in hooks. Art by Pasta, real life art. Visit artbypasta.com.
We caught snook, mangrove snapper, jacks, tripletail, sea trout, and Avi and I decided let's go ahead and focus on doing a nighttime segment for the bay, targeting snook and whatever else we could catch. So here we go, Miami's North Biscayne Bay, the evening shift. It's pretty much heavy tackle for the bay, considering we're using Penn Torque 100 reels and Penn Torque 25 narrow spool lever drag reels filled with 30-pound test Suffix 832 braid. And again, on the business end, we had 100-pound test Suffix advanced fluorocarbon leader with a CD18 plug. You need enough stout that when you're trolling this plug and you hook up alongside a bridge stanchion or a piling, that you want to horse these fish away.
I got a fish. Keep going. Get me out of here if you could. I got one on. Get me out of here. No, try to get him away from the rocks. Keep going. Get me in the middle there, Evie. He's thrashing. See him up there?
Oh, yeah.
He came up and shook it right by the piling.
Shaking on the surface. There he is. Whoa, jumping.
All right, Abe, it's all you. Here he comes.
Buddy.
This side here?
Yeah. Oh, in the boat. Nice flip. Perfect.
Abe, nice work with the
Good start.
navigation there.
Good start on a schnooky. That color just such a good classic, man. I love that color.
The fish was hungry.
When the tide changed and it started coming in, the pilchards got stacked on the shadow line of that haul-over bridge light. And it was an unbelievable experience because the snook were stacked up with their noses facing into the current in this big school of pilchards, and they were feeding on them and actively busting and feeding on them in this bridge light, of the shadow line. And it was really, really neat to watch. George decides he's gonna throw this twitching mullet in there, and he slings this Rapala plug in there, and he got whacked in pretty short order when he started jigging it.
Here we go, hooked up.
Nice fish, George. I'm gonna turn you a little bit here, buddy. I'll grab the net.
Okay. Here you go, Abe. I think we got him coming your way.
Almost here.
All right, nice and easy. Here you go, one more shot up. I'll get you one more reel out.
Yeah, I'd have to dive over for that one, buddy.
Here.
All right, nice fish, George. On the plug, baby. Great catch.
A twitching mullet. It did its twitching.
Twitching them in the middle of those feeding
Check
snook.
that plug.
Couldn't,
Let me take this hook out, Abe.
couldn't resist.
So shadow lines are so crucial to catching snook or tarpon or even striped bass up north. They're just natural feeding stations that you want to play off the edges and work along those shadow lines, get your baits out just into that lighter side, the brighter side, and you'll go to town on them. And sure enough, just sitting there watching those fish ambush the pilchards was definitely worth the price of admission.
We set out, me and George, to accomplish a good showcase of the versatility of Biscayne Bay. And between the sea trout, the snook, and the tarpon, the jack crevalles, the mangrove snappers, we covered all the big characters. And I think we produced enough to really let you know how good Biscayne Bay can be when it really fires off.
But what a variety of time it had been to experience the fishing both the day and also the evening. So back to TNT Marine it was for the night, and it was a perfect way to not only break in the new Mako 214 but to spend a day and a night with Abe into a place we both grew up fishing and just experienced Miami's North Biscayne Bay like we remembered it. If you want to keep track of our fishing adventures, we welcome you to follow us on our social media. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. I'm on Instagram at George Poveromo. And you can see our shows in 4K broadcast quality on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is George Poveromo TV. Jump aboard and ride along with us.